Hello and welcome to another update video on Coinbase. I want to take a moment to take a look at the bigger picture here, the larger time frame. Coinbase has reached all my targets in this cycle, which means we do not technically have to go higher to form a larger 5-wave pattern. This can be classed as a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, that was the top in March 2024, then a wave 4, which bottomed in April 25, and the 5th wave up might have topped here. That's why I call it major top. And that could be a major top in wave 1, for example. This could be a major top in wave 1. Obviously, if we extend higher, which can still happen, yeah, we could easily still get one more high, and I will take a look at all this mess with you in a minute. This is possible. We could get one more high. I would actually like to see this, but it's kind of not high confidence at this point. Throughout the last year or so on our other channels, I was quite firm in my view that we should get to $420. Anything beyond that is kind of nice to have. It was like Bitcoin's 130K target. We came very close to it. Really striking distance. We haven't yet broken above it, but came really close. It's entirely possible that a meaningful top has already formed. However, I want to give the bulls another chance. So there is a support area that I'm tracking, which is relevant here, which is for this 5th wave to the upside in an extension of wave 1. The first question is, where is support for that B wave in wave 5? And where could the next move up land? Now, before we zoom in, this move up from the 2022 low is not an impulse. So we do not have impulsive structures. We have overlaps in the structures here and there, and it's just choppy enough to be a diagonal pattern. That means the 5th wave to the upside needs to be an A, B, C structure. Okay, so we already have the context now confirmed. Now let's talk a little bit about the next upside target. So if we get one more high, then it makes sense to consider the next target, the next upside Fibonacci level. Now, I explained already to you that Coinbase reached the 138% extension at $420. That was my target. Minimum, you could say minimum target. One more high, it would make sense to then reach the next Fib level. Now, there are two actually. The 1.5 extension is not really a Fibonacci extension level, but sometimes meaningful, especially if the 1.38 and the 1.618 are so far away from each other. I would only see this as kind of, yeah, like the next resistance level, yeah, not necessarily as a major target. And so I think, hold on, let me just shift this a little bit. Yeah, so I think what we need to consider is that the next upside levels are at $491, $572, and $711. I'd say there's a good chance for the price to get to $572, especially if Bitcoin forms another high. I absolutely do not rule out that we already have a major top. I think we need to be very mindful of that. And at the moment, to me, it looks as if we are going to see this lower support area reached. With additional structural support around $235. Yeah, and Fibonacci support in the area around 286, 250, and 219, and maybe even 181. I don't necessarily see a drop to 181 from here, but it's possible. What is likely is maybe a test of the $219 to $250 area. Why? Well, it is possible that we already formed a low of sorts in a possible B wave, and we're on our way to that next Fib level in a direct fashion. That's the yellow scenario. But I have to say, the microstructures look super messy, and there's nothing currently that would confirm that. The move down also looks more like a 5-wave move. The move up here looks choppy. So and then we have a 5-wave move down as well from the October high. So to me, it looks like we might be in this C wave to the downside, which is a 5-wave move. It's possible that we completed wave 1. We're now in a wave 2 bounce, and then go lower like this. So that means, in other words, or let's say the question comes up, how can we actually distinguish now between the scenario in which we get another high more directly, or the scenario in which we are just in a corrective bounce and go down lower. It's going to be the red resistance area. Yeah, I do not have very clean microstructures at the moment. I really don't. Microstructures aren't very clear, therefore I don't really have a very reliable setup. I think this low here from the 17th of October has a potential to be a maybe somewhat meaningful low. I think that potential does exist. So if you want to trade it to the upside, I mean, you can always set a stop below, but it's not a reliable setup from an Elliott wave point of view. But any break above 382.85 would open the door, first of all, to 490 and then 570. That should give you a good idea of what's currently going on with Coinbase. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.